My grandmother raised 6 children during the Great Depression on a postman's salary. She never once filed for bankruptcy. She never once missed a meal, and she never once asked anyone for help. When she passed away, she left behind a house that was paid for, a pantry that was full, and a coffee can behind the flour, with enough cash inside to bury her without troubling a soul. She did not have a financial advisor. She did not have a budgeting app. She had 11 rules, and those rules worked better than anything Wall Street has ever invented. Today I am sharing every single one of them, and number 1 is the rule she repeated more than any other. It is the one that made her neighbors think she was poor when she was actually the most financially secure woman on the block. Stay with me for that one. Let us start with the rules that live inside your head, because my grandmother always said the most dangerous spending happens between your ears. Rule 11. See the next life of everything before you throw it away. My grandmother looked at a worn-out bedsheet and saw cleaning rags. She looked at a coffee can and saw a flower pot. She looked at a bread heel and saw breadcrumbs for next week's meatloaf. She never threw a single thing away without asking one question first. What else could this become? That question changed everything, because once you train your brain to see a second use in every object, you stop generating waste entirely. And waste is just money you already spent leaving your house in a garbage bag. Rule 10. The people doing the loudest showing are usually the ones closest to losing it all. My grandmother watched her neighbors during the Depression. The ones with the newest car and the nicest clothes were almost always the first ones to lose their homes. She told me something at her kitchen table that I have never forgotten. She said, "Quiet money is safe money." The moment you start spending to prove something to people who are not paying your bills, you have already lost. In 2026, this rule is more important than it has ever been. Social media has turned spending into a performance. But the wealthiest people I know drive modest cars, wear simple clothes, and never post their purchases online. But those first 2 rules are just the foundation. Wait until you hear what my grandmother did with her money that most financial advisors still do not recommend. Rule 9. Always keep emergency money somewhere no one else can touch. Not in a checking account, not in the stock market, not in a place that can be frozen, hacked, or accessed by anyone but you. My grandmother kept a coffee can behind the flour canister on the top shelf of her pantry. Every week, before she paid a single bill, she put a small amount of cash into that can. She called it her never you mind money. Nobody knew about it. Nobody could touch it. When her washing machine broke in 1962, she did not panic. She did not borrow. She reached behind the flour, pulled out her coffee can, and paid cash for a replacement that afternoon. In 2026, I keep the same thing. A small amount of physical cash in an envelope in a place only I know about, not my checking account, not an app. Real money I can hold in my hand if the power goes out, the banks go down, or life throws something I did not expect. Rule 8. Pay yourself first, always. Before the electric bill, before the mortgage, before groceries. My grandmother set aside her savings first, even if it was just a single thin dime. Most people do it backwards. They pay every bill, buy everything they need, and then try to save whatever is left over at the end of the month. The problem is, there is never anything left over. There never will be. Life fills every dollar you give it permission to spend. My grandmother flipped the order. Savings first, bills second, and somehow the bills always got paid anyway. She said the money stretches when it knows you are serious. Can I be honest with you about this next group? These are the rules that sound old-fashioned, but are actually the most relevant financial wisdom I have ever heard. They worked in 1935, and they work even better in 2026. Rule 7. If you cannot pay for it this month, you cannot afford it yet. Not you cannot afford it ever. You cannot afford it yet. My grandmother never said no to wanting things. She said not yet. She saved for a new kitchen table for 2 years. When she finally bought it, she paid cash, she owned it outright, and nobody could ever take it from her. She said that when you buy something on credit, the bank owns a piece of you until the day you pay it off, and she refused to be owned by anyone. In 2026, we finance everything. Furniture, phones, even groceries on buy now, pay later apps, and every single one of those payments is a small chain around your ankle that gets heavier every month. Rule 6. Never let the whole house lean its weight on one income. My grandmother watched families collapse during the Depression when the sole breadwinner lost a job. One income, one job, one employer. And when that single thread snapped, the entire family fell. She made sure there was always a second source of money coming in. She took in laundry, she sold eggs, she mended clothes for neighbors. It was never much, but it meant that when the main income wobbled, the house did not fall down. Today this means something different, but the principle is identical. A small side income, a part-time weekend project, even selling things you no longer need online. It does not have to replace your paycheck. It just has to exist so you are never completely dependent on one source. If you are finding these rules useful, a quick subscribe helps me keep sharing them. I am working on a video right now about things my mother never bought and why I finally understand her reasons. I think it might surprise a lot of you. Now let me tell you about the rules that changed how I spend every single day. Rule 5. Keep a threaded needle ready at all times. This sounds like a sewing tip. It is not. It is a behavior design principle disguised as a sewing tip. My grandmother kept 2 needles pre-threaded at all times, one with black thread and one with white. They sat in a small pincushion on her dresser. When a button popped off a shirt or a seam split on a pair of pants, the needle was already ready. No searching for thread. No struggling to thread the eye. The repair happened in 2 minutes because the friction was already removed. The reason most people throw away a shirt with a missing button is not that they cannot sew, it is that the effort of getting the supplies ready feels like too much. My grandmother eliminated that excuse entirely, and in doing so, she saved hundreds of dollars a year on clothing that other families would have replaced. Rule 4. Your neighbors are your wealth. My grandmother did not mean this as a nice sentiment. She meant it literally. During the Depression, cash was scarce, but skills were everywhere. She traded her mending for fresh vegetables from the family next door. She watched a neighbor's children in exchange for help with heavy lifting. She shared recipes and received jars of preserves. Nobody survived the Depression alone. The families that made it through were the ones embedded in a network of mutual support, and the families that tried to do everything by themselves were the ones that broke. In 2026, we have forgotten this entirely. We pay strangers for everything. We hire people to do things our neighbors would happily trade for. A community is not just a nice thing to have. It is a financial safety net that no bank can provide. Rule 3. Conduct a leak-proof audit of every dollar leaving your house. My grandmother sat down once a month and went through every single expense, line by line. She called it plugging the leaks. A dripping faucet wastes a gallon a day. A forgotten subscription wastes $10 a month. A habit you stopped noticing wastes $50 a month. Small leaks sink big ships, and most people have no idea how many leaks are running in their financial pipes. In 2026, the leaks are worse than ever. Auto-renewing apps, streaming services you forgot you signed up for, convenience fees on delivery orders. My grandmother would have called these silent thieves, and she would have been right. I use a simple printable tracker to do my own monthly audit. It takes about 15 minutes, and it has saved me over $1,200 this year alone. If you want the same one, the link is below this video, but a notebook and pencil work just as well. My grandmother used the back of an envelope. Now, these last 2 rules are the ones that matter most. They are not about money at all. They are about how you see yourself and how you move through the world. And they are the reason my grandmother slept peacefully every single night while the rest of the country was falling apart. Rule 2. Do not just consume. Grow something, make something, create something with your hands. My grandmother said that a person who only ever buys things is at the mercy of the people who sell them. But a person who can grow a tomato, bake a loaf of bread, or mend a pair of pants answers to nobody. It was never about the money saved. It was about the independence gained. When you can produce something, even something small, you carry a confidence that no job loss, no recession, and no price increase can take away from you. I wrote a cookbook recently with 50 meals that each cost under $5. Every recipe in it is something my grandmother would have recognized. Simple ingredients, real food, nothing wasted. If you want it, the link is right below this video. And finally, Rule 1. This is the one I told you about at the beginning. The one that made her neighbors think she was poor when she was actually the richest woman on the street. Rule 1. Live so far below your means that no emergency can touch you. My grandmother could have afforded a nicer house. She could have afforded a newer car. She could have afforded to eat out and buy new clothes and keep up with every family on the block. She chose not to, not because she was cheap, not because she was afraid, because she had already lived through the worst economic disaster in American history, and she knew something that most people learn too late. Security is not how much money you make. It is the distance between what you earn and what you spend. And the wider that gap, the safer you sleep. Her neighbors thought she was struggling because she drove an old car and wore the same coat for 10 years. But when those same neighbors lost their jobs in the recession, it was my grandmother who brought them soup, not the other way around. She was never the richest person in the room. She was always the most secure. And she told me there is a difference between those two things that most people never figure out. Those are 11 rules my grandmother lived by during the Great Depression. She carried them her entire life. And at 52, I carry them too. They are not complicated. They are not glamorous. They will never go viral. But they work. They have always worked. And they will still work long after every financial app and investment trend has been forgotten. Which of these rules hit closest to home for you? And did your grandmother have a rule I missed? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. In my next video, I am sharing 12 things my mother never bought and why I finally understand her reasons. Some of them are going to surprise you. If you do not want to miss it, subscribe and I will see you there.